Hi everyone, this is Divine. I wanted to talk about more symptoms and signs of being targeted. My case is very big and lengthy, so there are several layers to it. And I found great videos that links the domestic violence to narcissist to being targeted, being gang stalked, etc., in how it all links up together. So identify takes several factors, right? I would suggest if you feel alerted or if you feel you may be targeted, first identify. Identify what it is, if you're being targeted, and then if it fits your situation. That's what I would do. Personally, I started noticing based on like what the fuck happenings. Um, in my situation, they didn't start with the people around me. They first started with electronic. So electronic monitoring of your calls, your texts, your emails, anything electronically, your social media, etc. So once they have access, at least that was my case. I don't know how they're doing it now because there is transparency now. And from what I'm aware from this administration, there were disclosed information based on targeting that now they can actually access the Wi-Fi in your house and tap in your house via the Wi-Fi. So today's technology for targeting is way more powerful. And mind you, I started being targeted over 10 years ago. So it was way different. But I'm gonna explain to you how it started with me, how I noticed and what's going on right now. So you can have a feel and, try to, I don't know, compare with your situation. It started with electronics, like I said. They'll monitor your social media, your emails, your calls, your texts, etc. Now, why are you being monitored at all? Like, at first, why are you in a list to be monitored? And I found out later on it was due to my ex-husband. And so it goes with narcissists. If you so identify the people around you. I couldn't get rid of my ex-husband. I asked for a divorce when my son was a few months old. This was back in 2015 or 14. I asked for a divorce and the guy went crazy. And the first thing that came out of his lips was, I'm gonna take away your kids. And I freaked out. Mind you, I'm holding a baby in my arms. And that's what he says. And I'm like, the hell, you're not. You're not taking away my kids. And that's exactly what he did. But later on, like my kids are older now. So that was a huge red flag. By the time he said that, I already knew I was fucked in that state. Because if he's that confident to come up to me and with a newborn in my arms and say, I'm gonna take away your kids, that means he was already connected. When he said that, he had felt that he had the authority because somebody gave it to him. So let me get started. You first get on a list because somebody puts you there. Okay. So that's why I say look at the people around you. Get rid of anybody who's seemingly narcissist. And for my previous video, I'm sorry I had audio issues. I always have IT issues. I'm going to further explain why. It's all connected. And believe me, everything's connected. There are no such thing as coincidences. Start putting that through your mind, okay? Somebody put you on a list. If you're being targeted, if you're being monitored, if you're being gang stalked, someone put you on a list. There are different types of lists, but they all get the same treatment. At first, certain groups are more protected than others. I find that religious groups are extremely protected. So you have the Muslims which are Islamic. You have the Christians who are different from the Catholics. They have different protections. The Catholics have like super high protection compared to Christians. And then you have the Jews. And within the Jews, there are different groups, just like the Christians. Catholics are one single fucktard of shit. Muslims saying shit. I guess that's why they're accepting each other now. And he comes from the Catholic background, not protected, not like a well connected Catholic background, but he tried really hard. He succeeded by telling a bunch of lies to a bunch of Catholic people, which ended up protecting him because they're retards. But and he also has connected. He was also connected with the Christian side, with his family, which are all the crappy version of the Christians. They all pretend nobody lives by the Bible and his family. They all talk shit, you know. And within the Jews, you have the outstanding Jews. And what the fuck are you kind of Jews sucking from the Jew connection? And Florida has all the religious groups, that they're all protected. So my ex-husband is an insecure little dick piece of shit who started saying a bunch of shit, a bunch of lies. To many groups, not to people close to me, but the people close to me know me. But to like groups that don't know me. And just took his lies because he decided he didn't like me, especially after I asked for a divorce. And I didn't divorce him because I didn't want to lose my kids. So at that time that he said that, I was like, oh shit, it's too late. Because by that time, it had already been a few years. And I didn't realize it was too late. So if you notice, they'll wait too long. Because what they do is they try to connect themselves to these groups that are protected so they can fuck you over and nobody will question them. They'll question you instead. And if you give them time, you will give them time to create groups in protected groups. So to prove them wrong, it's going to take longer because you're protected now. I don't believe in protecting religious groups. That's why I'm anti-religious, not because I'm not a godly woman, but because of this. I don't believe in this religious bullshit protection, okay? People should be protected based on their merit, based on their heart, their mindset, their ability to be a good human being. Not just good, because you can't just be good. You have to be capable. Because there are a bunch of naive retards, dumbass out there who gets taken advantage of by these people, and they're doing things for these people. Those are so kind, but they're retarded. So kind-hearted people and capable people who can think, who can still use logic and still have kindness, which is not the case with many religious groups. That's why I'm no religion. Not for me. But God, yes. So, you know, they put you on a list. The closest people to you will put you on a list. And then, if they're as insecure with the little dick like my ex-husband, they will convince other people in protected groups to like put you on a list. So then your name is mentioned several times by several people You protect the groups. So be like, oh yeah, these are protected people, and there's just several protected people saying the same thing about you. So it must be true. And it's not. But at first, they don't know because they have this mindset that these protected groups are protected for a reason. They're protected for pedophile reasons, for dirty, corrupt reasons, not because they speak the truth reason, right? So my recommendation, if you feel you're being targeted, cut it off. You have to cut off the source of your targeting, the source that started your targeting, the gang stalking. Because if you cut the source, you can cut it from the beginning. So I found out it was my ex-husband, um, maybe like 3 years in. Um, it took me a couple of years, but it wasn't that many years, but by then it was too late. So if you have like a huge, insecure little dick hater, and he could be a man or woman, and they're willing to perform. And that's a word I want to use. They perform really well. So, an authentic person, they're just real people. They're authentic. And you have to be able to tell who's authentic and who's performing. The performers are almost always linked to one of these groups because they're used as puppets. So, long story short, you don't want to owe anything to these kinds of groups. Long story short, my ex-husband put me on a list because he was a little dick bitch, insecure, because I asked for a divorce, because he's a psychopath. That shit crazy, wouldn't go to a freaking psychologist, and I requested him to. I said, you should go to a psychologist because you're crazy. You're not dealing. I didn't say it that way. I said in a loving manner, at the time because we were married, but now he's a bad shit, fucking crazy motherfucker. But at the time I did say in a nicely, wifey manner. You're not dealing well with your emotions. I think you should go to a psychologist. I'll go with you if you want to, but I really think you benefit you. I did the whole thing. But then he didn't want to. He found the psychologist all the way through because the psychologist would agree with me 100% of the time. They were like, why don't you work on yourself? And he ran from the psychologist within one visit, okay? So when I identified he was batshit crazy, yeah, I asked for a fucking divorce. I'm not psychotic. I don't want an abusive. He wasn't abusive towards me. It was I'm too strong. Like I'll be the wifey and I'll do good, but I'll say fuck you to your face. Like if you're doing something I don't like, so it's not like I'm gonna stay quiet. And I called Islamic because he wanted me to be that kind of girl. I'm like, you married the wrong person. I am not the type of person who just stays quiet. I never was and never will be. I was never a people pleaser. Maybe that's what he wanted me to be, but that's never who I was or am. I'm still the same person. I haven't changed. It's just that perception has changed because they were being fed false information, false narratives about me. And then when they see something different from me, he's like, see, she's saying that she's crazy to these groups of people, which are end up being his flying monkeys. If you study narcissism and narcissists, if you understand they always have flying monkeys, that's how narcissists don't get dealt with because they always end up corrupting people around them or around you, especially you, the target. And they end up convincing them that their version of you is the truth, not you. Yeah, for real. That's how narcissists are. So, narcissists are highly linked to gang stalking, being targeted because they will like put you as a target for not being who they want you to be. And so they create these narratives of the person they want you to be. And then when you're not, people start talking shit about you. Oh, you changed. Oh, why are you changing? Like, don't you love your husband? I'm like, I haven't changed, bitch. Like, you don't even fucking know me. Who the fuck are you? And they've been fed information on the background. These are people you just meet. But he's already communicated with them on the side, right? So they're coming in with a narrative in their minds about you. And they think they can trust the source because they're performing. Again, I wanted to touch the word of performing because they're good actors. They perform, oh, I'm so concerned about it. It always comes with concern. I'm so concerned about her. Can you talk to her? Religious groups. I'm a religious Catholic, whatever, I'm a religious person, so I mean well because look at me, I'm religious. And you, as a religious person, you want to help our marriage, right? It's how it starts. So, red flag religion, red flag bringing in like strangers who are suddenly your new friends, your new besties. And because your new besties will come with a narrative that's embedded already. Where my besties, my old besties, they know me for who I am. They've known me for a long time. But since they know who I am, it doesn't serve him. It doesn't serve his narratives. So what does a narcissist has to do for targeting you? If they want to target you, what are they going to do? They're going to change the people around you. And as a husband, they're going to be like, oh, it's a new best friend. Oh, I found them in church. They're great. And they're not great because they're stupid. They're kind hearted people. Again, kindness and capability. A lot of those kind hearted people, they end up being a narcissist puppet because they're stupid. They believe everything that comes out of someone's mouth because God bless their souls. They're so kind. I'm gonna fuck. You end up fucking someone over. And that's on you because you're a grown as adult dating a narcissist because you don't know half the story and you go along with it because you refuse to ask the person that's your new best friend. Oh, when I first met your husband, he said XYZ, is that true? Because I see you being different. Instead of asking like a grown ass adult, what do? They play the part of the narcissist. They say nothing, they trust the narcissist story, and they don't say a word. And they just report back to the narcissist like, oh, you're right, she's changed. She's nothing like you said she is. And it starts. That's how it starts. So you first identify why you're on a list. Somebody near you put on a list. Either somebody close to you that lives with you personally, somebody you know, or somebody you work with. So you have to identify, where do I work? Is it a high risk place? So I also worked at a high risk place. I worked with money, I worked investment banking, getting people in and out of the building, like his own procedures. Everybody had a background check. We didn't just bring in anybody from the streets because we were in a kind of industry where everybody has to be vetted, right? Vetted. So it could have been my coworker. I thought to myself because of so I had two, I had my personal, him, because everybody else in my family, they were my family. And all my friends, they were only people I knew for a long time. So they knew me. I don't have that many friends. I'm not like a very social person, but the little friends I have, they were my friends. And then I had coworkers. But my coworkers in my team, like I said, I called ourselves, what did I call it? The 18. So we were a good team. So I didn't think my team, but it could have been the coworkers, right? Because I worked in that kind of environment. And so both were like, which one was it? Most of the time, it's someone close to you on a personal level because it's a personal vendetta. Now, at work, mine just blew all around, right? Because I was thankfully very successful at work as I was successful personally. And it's always with them Cubans, right? I'm not picky on them. Thank God I don't live with them anymore, but I do have to tell my story. And like I said from the beginning, there are many Cubans involved. And that's why I want to live somewhere. And I do live somewhere where, thank God, I'm far away from those motherfuckers. Um, there was this Cuban woman that I think she wanted my position, but my team is like, I'm not going in unless this is the team and I'm included, right? We're a transfer from another investment bank. And I think this woman wanted my job because she was out to get me. She was spreading rumors, and I ignored the bitch. I ignore everybody. I don't know a fuck. I'm there to work, make money, and I don't know a fuck what you have to say. So getting to me was also hard. Getting to my team was hard. Because we meant business. We were there for business. That's why we were top producers. We weren't there for the gossip. We were there to make money. We were there for business, and that's my line of work. It's money. So we're not here to be friends. We're there to make the money, you know. Nobody gets hired to be friends with you, buddy. Not in my industry. Like, if we end up being friends, they're good, great. But if we don't have to, you know. But it became bad. The gossipy and, you know, etc. But now, how do they meet? So let me tell you my story. I was very unfortunate to be in such a investment bank. I worked international banking, and international banking is a very small community. And it turned out that someone my ex-husband knew one of the bankers that were international bankers that knew somebody that connected everybody. And one time, that person went out on lunch and also heard someone talk about me or something, delivered the message to him. You know, I was pretty. I think people were talking how pretty I am. I don't know the exact content of the but it had to do something with that. Got delivered back to him, or they wanted to approach me at work. I'm unapproachable because I'm just there for business. My team can approach me, like I said. You know, top. We're focused, and our focus was business. You know, we weren't greedy people. We're not greedy people. It's just that's our job. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to get it done. That's why we're the 18, you know? But the not everybody's like that. If a lot of people in those kinds of environment, they go to work to gossip, right? That's their life, their soap opera. And I don't like it. Personally, I don't. It doesn't entertain me at all. And actually, I hate it. But most people in that environment, that's why I left it, like it, apparently. So long story short, so my ex-husband's friend overhears people talking about I'm not even there because I never left for lunch. I eat lunch at my table, I work, and when I leave, is to go to home to my family, pick up you know what I mean? Like I never went out to eat and stuff. Sometimes I went to happy hour, and when I say happy hour, it was 1 hour, you know, and they didn't like that about me. I'm like, I'm not here to stay 6 hours and get drunk with you people. Like, I have a family to go to. I'll be here for an hour. I'll socialize. I'll say hello, and then I'll get the fuck out. So, one of these people knew one of my ex-husband's friend. I don't know what the fuck that guy said. That my ex-husband started thinking I was cheating on him. That's how it all started. When I say little dick, insecure ass, instead of asking me and approaching me and being upfront with me, nah. He told everybody else, but like, as if I wouldn't be able to tell they were talking about me. It's like you can tell when somebody's talking about you because when you enter the room, they go quiet, like, oh shit, we just got caught, you know? And so it started that way. And somehow it merged the gang stalking personally and family friends with coworkers. And this is insane because these are a bunch of low-life fucking piece of shit motherfuckers who can't make it to the big leagues, the mountain, and this is who they fucking were. And they just gossip about anything they can because that's their life. This miserable piece of shit gossip. And they end up, like I said, so kind. They believe in everybody, but they're stupid because they're incapable. And you end up serving as a puppet to a narcissist. And my ex-husband is a huge red flag narcissist. And mind you, this is 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it wasn't well addressed what a narcissist is as it is today. It wasn't, there were no there was no Google for it. There was no awareness. There were no psychologists coming up and trying to define it well, so you can identify it. I just knew he was a psychopath. To my mind, psychopath. But I dealt with it because Like I said, my kids will always come first, and he knew that. And so by him saying that, he will go after my kids. I was like, I'm not leaving when my son is only 4 months old. It's not happening. Long story short, if you cry to an Islamic group, Muslim man, that your wife is cheating on you and she's doing this and women shouldn't work, blah, 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 you're going to get a bunch of men riled up, especially if she says a bunch of lies, which is what narcissists do. They lie. They tell these groups of, you know, chauvinistic men, and lots of them are Islamic, but a lot of them are Catholics, Christians, Cubans, Jews, who are just insecure little bitch males who are like, how dare her? They don't even ask questions. They don't investigate. They just go along with the fucking guy says because, oh, men can never be wrong and bullshit, right? And I'm not here to defend women because some women are bitches. I'm not saying men don't have a reason to think bad about women, but I'm saying if you're going to do something stupid, investigate first, right? But they, in that going back, being capable, being smart, they don't think about these things. They just decide to gang stalk someone and target someone without first investigating if there's any truth to the claim. Before, like, let's ask some questions. Let's put this person against the wall and find out and ask questions. No, 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 no. We're gonna watch her in the bathroom. We're gonna do all kinds of gang stalking shit. And we're not gonna ask any questions. Because that makes so much sense. There's no logic in it. Because it's based on emotions. Somebody starts gaslighting you and get narcissists. They always do that. They gaslight everyone around them with emotions. Because people are too goddamn emotional, not too much logic, they fall for it. And they end up what? Aiding a narcissist, piece of shit, abuser, without even knowing what they're doing because they're emotional. And mind you, they all called me crazy. At the end of all this shit, long story short, I was apparently the crazy one, the unstable, but the only one using logic while everyone's being gaslit, talking shit, being flying monkeys, repeating each other's narratives like a bunch of fucking parrots. When I get out of that goddamn forsaken state where everyone's a fucking retard, emotional piece of shit, bunch of faggots, then I go to a state where they think they have logic and I can talk coherently to other people is when they go, what the fuck happened to you? That's it, I guess. That happened to me in my state, even at my old state. Then I get some understanding on the matter, and I helped myself. I did my own research on being targeted. I had to go to the dark web to find more information because it wasn't readily available for the public at the time. I had my own fight. I had to find out how you get monitored, how I started being monitored. Again, starts electronically, goes to your car, start having freak accidents. And when I say freaky, like what the fuck, freaky accidents? Because they'll have someone purposely cause an accident with you. So, because if you have an accident, your car has to be taken into service. When your car gets taken into service by force, they can work on your car and add bug devices to your car. And when the bug devices they add to your car is not the ones under, like on top of the tire, under the hood of the tire. They place it electronically in the wiring of your car. It's behind the glove compartment in those wires, and that goes in the middle of your car. All my cars got dead. That's where they were. And I noticed because one of the times, one of my cars, I opened the glove compartment, and the back of it had the wires exposed. I'm like, that's odd. That never happens. And you can also buy devices where you can find where there's a bug in your car. I have a bunch of those. I sweep my car, my house when I was living with my ex-husband was holy shit. And nowadays they don't need someone to physically place devices in your house. They can send signals and via Wi-Fi and stuff like that and just spy on your house and your neighbor will be helping them. Don't trust your neighbors. Don't trust anybody. But trust your family if they're loyal to you. If you have a friend who's a ride or die friend, trust them. But you'll be very limited to the amount of people you can trust because they'll start gaslighting everyone around you. And for some reason, everyone around you will start believing the lies instead of coming to you like grown-ass adult and asking you questions. Oh, word on the street is XYZ about you. Is that true? Where are they getting this from? Nobody did that. And I'm just looking and I see it because I just see shit. Like I can see it. I can see it happening. I can see people's demeanor changing around me. I can see the way they talk to me has changed. Their tone of voice has changed. Everything has changed. Dynamics have changed. And I'm like, why is everybody acting this way? And it was that because they had this whole narrative in the background about you, but they don't have the fucking balls to come up to you directly and ask you a goddamn question. And that was both me personally and at work. So I left everything behind for a reason. I was being gang stalked everywhere and targeted everywhere. And they ended up connecting dots between my personal life and my work life, which is what they wanted. Some of my coworkers complained that I didn't have social media. I'm like, I have social media. And he was like one of those liberals that like, and I'm not to get political, but I'm friends with some center liberals, but center liberals are not the same as woke piece of shit liberals. There's some liberals that go too far, too crazy, too woke. I can't even have a conversation with you. And that was some of them. Like they'll complain that I don't have social media. I'm like, why is that a thing? I'm at work. Like in my mind, I go to work. Uh, not to share my social media with you people. So to me, that was strange. I didn't care. I'm like, I don't work with you. You're not even part of my team. It's like some people that are in your office building. We share the same building, but we actually don't work together. You just work in the same building. And it was strange to me that they wanted to know more. I'm like, you're not even part of my team. My team is 3 people. Okay, me and 2 other. Like that's who my team is. That's who I work with directly. That's who I work with. You people are just people I share the building with in kitchen and bathroom stalls. Like, what the fuck? But anyhow, fast. But that's how it starts. So if you're in that kind of work environment that's toxic, but it was not your personal life, when it's a work life, red flag. Because they'll be the first one to start getting stuck in you and they don't feel bad about it. It feeds them because they're such miserable fucking people that any sign, any moment where they have a chance to gang stalk somebody to them, they thrive. They feed off of that. So rule number 1, identify who's your source. Rule number 2, get rid of it. If you're too deep in that when you try to get rid of the person like I did and they start going after, if you already entangled, like I had children entangled, my children will always come first. You have to protect the children because they will go after the children. Like I've explained in my previous videos, my ex-husband has a history of abuse with my children. Like he's a very abusive person with my children. He wouldn't be abusive to me, like I said, because of my personality. But my children are still children, so they haven't developed my personality in them yet. And so he feels like he can mistreat them and mold them to be, people that accept abuse as being normal, and he has a judge that helps him do that, another Muslim piece of shit Cuban. So you have all these elements, all of these things that are taking place at the same time. And the purpose is to overwhelm you. They want you overwhelmed. They don't want you to function. They don't want you to be loved. They don't want you to be liked. They don't want you to have friends. So when I moved, I was alone. No friends from the past that knew me. I cut all connections. Because I was like, I don't know which one of you ended up hating him because somebody was hating my ex-husband from my side. So I'm just going to cut everybody off. And when I did that, it was Turned out to be everybody. Everybody was falling because nobody had the balls to come directly to me. Nobody, not anyone from my family, not anyone from my friends. So, and it's sad because you lose the friendship, you lose the family dynamics you used to have. It's not the same. I in one shot tell everybody to go fuck off in 1, 2, 3. I won't even hesitate and I won't blink because I know what's at stake and I know what they did. They don't deserve, me to be all compassionate and because I know what they did. So how do you know they did what they did, right? How do you know? Okay, identify. Identify how they're talking to you. It will change. Dynamics will change immediately. Like I said, the first thing he said when I asked for divorce, I'm coming after the children. Very aggressive. Narcissist, when narcissist is in my experience, at least with him, it's a gradual thing, right? If it starts slow, it starts like pecking. What can I get away with here? What can I get away with there? And then he grows. When he's so confident, the narcissist does not have to be he could be a she. I've seen many bitchy fucking women there and I'm not here. It's not about gender, okay? I just happen to be that I'm a woman. He's a man, okay? But it's not about gender, okay? I just want to make that very clear. Start speaking. But what can I get away with? Here, there, a button here, and then they hide. And then they go a button here, a button there, and then they hide. Just see what they can get away with. When they feel so confident that they can get away with a lot, they'll be very aggressive. Like very in your face, like that. Like they'll feel heavy because people will do it. Like I said, my personality. I have a very strong personality. Always had. If I didn't have a strong personality, he would not have felt the need to target me and gang stalk me. That's how weak they are. You have to realize that narcissists are really weak in the mind, in spirit, everywhere. They're just weak little dick piece of shit. And it could be little vagina, whatever you want to call it for women, I don't know. They're just so weak that they cannot deal with you directly. So they have to create a narrative about you behind your back because they're cowards and bring in all these people to start talking about you shit behind your back, and nobody will come up to you directly because they end up being insecure together. So that's how, in narcissist terminology, it's called the flying monkeys. That's how they create the flying monkeys, which create the gang stalkers, right? The flying monkeys end up being the gang stalkers. And they're ringleaders, what we call it, right? Who ends up manipulating these puppets. And while these dumb fucks are like, yeah, I have something to talk about today, they're just puppets to a bunch of evil narcissist pieces of shit. Like I said, you have to be capable. Be kind-hearted, but you have to be capable. You have to be able to think, like, why is this person asking questions, right? Why is this person saying this about their wives? Like, don't they love them so much? Mind you, it starts, I'm so concerned about her because I love her so much, but I am so concerned, fake concerned. And again, going back to the word performative, they perform. They're all fake actors performing. So you have to ask yourself, if you're so concerned about her, why don't you ask her? Like, why don't you go talk to her? Why don't you, you have to ask those questions to the individual talking to you. So identify. Rule number 1, identify who is the source. Who would put you on a list? Who would, it's called recruiting flying monkeys or gang stalkers, right? Who would do that to you? Cut them off some way, somehow. You have to cut them off. If it's family, cut them off. If they're living in your house, kick them out. Grow up their balls and kick them out and be like, no. So you have to find out who it is and you have to create boundaries immediately. I started creating boundaries with my ex-husband when I found out, like, even though I asked for a divorce and he said he'd go after my kids, and I said I would stay for my kids, I created boundaries, though. Clear set boundaries, emotional, about all kinds of boundaries, and he hated it. So the more boundaries I created, the more shit he would talk. And how do you know he's talking more shit about you? You have to notice he will tell you the source. And that's how, once you start recognizing who is the most unstable person and the most emotional person around you, you recognize who's like the source of the bullshit. Because you don't want to be dealing with the flying monkeys. It's going to be a dead end everywhere. They're just dumb motherfuckers, you know. And some will be your family, they'll be close to you, could even be your mother, because God, they're so naive, right? The source, though, someone a little bit more clever, but way more unstable, way more insecure, and they think they're so clever, but they're not. In a sense, they're clever enough to manipulate a bunch of dumbasses, but that's not being clever. It just makes you less stupid. So because you're less stupid, you think you're clever. Because you can manipulate a bunch of retarded, kind-hearted retards who can fall for your bullshit story. You think you're on top of the game, that you're the smartest person in the room because it's ego. They're very egotistical. Another thing. Another trait of a narcissist is that they're very egotistical. They think they're the best. They think no one can come up against them, especially not the target. And they think they know it all. But they're very emotionally retarded, very low emotional IQ, very emotionally unstable, very insecure of themselves. That's why they need the flying monkeys. The flying monkeys give them like the confirmation, I'm so smart. Because I'm manipulating you flying monkeys, you know, and that's why I said the flying monkeys are so fucking retarded. Because they fall for the narratives of the narcissist. And the narcissists are pulling their strings and they're so stupid. And they really are. Like they're the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. And then you have the narcissists, the evil motherfuckers using these people. And then you have you, the target. And you have to decide, well, if you're going to be a target, then you're going to be part of their narrative, or is he going to do something about it? So you identify who's the source. You try to get rid of the source. You cut off the source. Any way, shape, or form you can. If you think it's statewide, like I did, you get the fuck out of the state. It's that simple. You have to have the balls to do what needs to be done and cut everybody off. And that's what I did. In terms of espionage, they will spy on you. Like I said, it starts electronically. The more you know about IT, the better it is for you. You don't have to understand AI. You don't have to prompt AI. You need to know the old school IT stuff. So like I said, I'm older. This is from 10 years ago, but before I worked in investment banking, I worked in kind of sort of in IT, in an IT department. So I learned about the basics of operating system, hardware, software, etc. That helped me a lot because I could tell I was being spied on. Your devices will malfunction in a freaky way. Like you know how they will cause accidents with you on purpose, by the way. If you get into a car accident that's extremely freaky, like it feels like it was on purpose, it was on purpose. And the purpose is, if your car goes into service, they can place a mole on a device inside the car. 2, you prevent you from going to work. If you have a big day at work, they'll purposely prevent you from going to work for that big day. And they're right, you know, because they're already spying on you. Electronics is the easiest thing to start spying on you. They can get information from the companies, they can buy information from the companies, etc. Nowadays, with new technology that has been disclosed by the government, they can really put a signal in your house. And they can spy on your house. Your neighbors could be spying on your house. Like I previously said, don't trust your neighbors. If you see you're being a target, you probably are a target. Best thing you can do is get rid of the source. Identify the source so you can get rid of it. Best thing you can do. Long story short, in my case, what made it bad is that the professional life of the gang stalking that was happening professionally got intertwined with what was happening personally. And it became one big, huge blab of shit. Of gang stalking, of being targeted, of everything, you know? And like I said, government, I don't know if I said this before. I did a video before, but I was having audio issues as always. So I'm always having issues. Again, lots of issues because you're being spied on. Um, you have all these issues, all the electronic issues. So I just learned to deal with it eventually after so many years. But it has become a lot of shit. And government, they don't like to let a situation go to waste. If they can use a situation to put you in a program, let it be MK program, whatever it is, they'll do it. And mind you, when you have these religious groups involved, you have heavy government involvement because these groups are protected by government and they're linked to government. So the religious groups are linked to government. Every religious group's linked to government. Whether you like it or not, deal with it, it's the truth. When you have someone heavily involved and trying to involve religious groups in it, like Meg's husband did, is because he wanted to cry wolf to all these religious groups. Help me, help my marriage. Oh, she is horrible. She's this. She's accusing me of being crazy and unstable. And then after all the bullshit, he got proven that he's the crazy and unstable. But in the eyes of the flying monkeys, that's why he doesn't have any flying monkeys anymore. Him. But he still has a stupid judge, and because they want to save face. The judge is an official representative of the state that the fucked up state that aided him and went along with his bullshit stories. So they're trying to save face. It's not that they like him. Nobody likes him. He's a fucking little dicked up fuck narcissist liar. But it's that the state is trying to save face that they fucked up. You know, instead of listening to me and having the balls, imagine a state like Florida that claims that they are, oh, we own the gods and we're on the right side of history, but they didn't have the balls to come up to me and ask me questions directly and be like, is this true? Word on the street is XYZ. They didn't have the fucking balls to fucking ask me anything. But went along with all these lies from a fat ass little dick piece of shit, bald on top of that. It's embarrassing, you know? So they're trying to save face. And there's no saving face because everybody already knows, you know? So it's pointless and useless what this judge is doing. But, you know, stupid people do stupid things, and Cubans are fucking stupid motherfuckers, you know? Islamic piece of shit motherfuckers. And it's what it is, you know, and the reason why they're trying to save face, they're trying to pretend Florida is this great state on the right side of pedophiles, apparently, because they're not on the right side of history. They really are not. They're on the side of pedophiles right now and child abusers, unless they do something about it, which I hope they do. I want to say that Florida's on the right side. I do. I want to say that. I do. That's the story I want to be telling, you know, but that would require Florida to actually do that, to actually be that, to actually help me, you know, and not try to save face with some fucking piece of shit little dick narcissist, you know. So if you're being targeted, you feel like you're being targeted, you probably are. Don't be a psychopathic, you know, little bitch. Can't, you know, oh my God, I saw a guy in that car. Don't do that. That's weak and it makes those other women look bad. So identify. It will be like, it's not just one freaky accident. There will be several. There will be many. Actually, it'll be countless. There will be people trying to cause accidents after all your cars are spied on. They already have access to you down the line, and years later, they're going to cause accidents with you if you say something they didn't like in one of your spy devices. You know, and they'll just cause an accident because fuck you, bitch. I'm watching you and I don't like what you say. It's that crazy. It would be accidents all the time. Your electronics will malfunction all the time because they're constantly keeping tabs on you. So your computer will start malfunctioning, your phones, everything. Your TV, when I mean everything, I mean everything. You will tell and it will be like constantly. So the thing about gang stalking that you have to identify is the consistency. It's constantly. So you'll take some time, but at first you'll be aggressive. So there's also that aggressiveness to it. So at first everything was very aggressive. Now they're being more chill about it. And now they have other ways of getting to you that they try to be less noticeable because they don't like it when the victims notice they're being spied on. Because you can start talking to them. And that's what I did. I made some friends with the flying monkeys. I turned them on them. That's how they lost support. You have to do what you have to do. If you can't stop them from hacking you, and they'll be hacking you all the time. Because I have a job, I work, I have a life. But one time I bought a Linux computer and I started changing my IP address. I started changing, it's all DOS system and, whatever. And they were like at it, trying to find out like what's my IP address. And I would change it, man, and, change to the next IP address. And they'll be like right there. I'm like, motherfuckers, they're like, they have nothing better to do. And they don't. When you realize who these motherfuckers are, they're like miserable ass piece of shit who got gaslit, I guess that's the right word, by a bunch of narcissists. And they give you like these fake stories. And they believe it. That's how dumb these people are. They believe the fake stories and they are passionate about it. And they will waste the entire day trying to spy on you to get nothing. Just, I did it, guys, and go to a chat room where they report back to each other. I did it, and like they are miserable little shits who have no life, literally. And it's when you realize that's who they are, you just talk back to them. Then you try to win them. Like, are you stupid? Do you not realize what this narcissist is doing to you? He's using you. He's a child abuser. If you're spying on me, go spy on him, and you find out real quick, he's a child abuser. I have pictures in my phone. Haven't you seen? Don't just spy on my phone. Like, look at the pictures inside my phone, bitches. So, you do what you have to do to try to get yourself out of the situation. I recommend you identify immediately and cut them off immediately before it's too late. That's my recommendation. Look at your rear mirrors. If you're being followed, it's not a one-time thing. It can be followed constantly. Again, it's this consistent things that happen all the time. The accidents, the malfunctioning of your devices, but it's constantly. It's not one time. Okay, so don't freak out. Oh my god, oh my god, please don't do that. You have to be methodical about it. You have to create a process. You have to look at your rear view mirror. Are they really following you? And another thing, the way they follow you, when they realize they know you're being followed, they'll switch vehicles. So there'll be one guy following you, they'll switch, but then another guy will go. But they drive in a very systemic way that you can realize they're switching positions, right? They're switching followers. It's different than regular people driving. They drive methodically, I guess. They have a way that they drive. The purpose is you. The purpose is not driving and looking at the stars and, ooh, no, the purpose is you. If you get off an exit, you see somebody will follow you. So you get off many exits and you clock them. I had and how I know they do have law enforcement involved. Sometimes I'll have random police try to tag me too, and I'll see them tagging me. I'll clock them. So, and it has everything to do with what you say. And I believe this was an attempt to infringe on our First Amendment because they wanted to clock who was saying what in their houses. Like I said, government will not let it go to waste. It may start with some piece of shit little dick crying about their wives. They were cheating on me. No, I'll be a lie. But nobody wants to verify. They want an excuse as to why they can spy on you. And if you get these religious groups involved, there's no verification. And government will get involved for these religious groups. And there'll be no verification. There's no checks and balances, nothing. And then once you're in, once you're being targeted, once you're being gang stalked, and they have surveillance on you, game over. They'll use that shit for whatever they want. And if this personal matter is resolved or it's no longer a thing, it's not resolved in my case, but it's not like active about the cheating. They make it about something else. Like it's like, oh, see, she said something about Muslims, for example. I spoke about Muslim and Islams or Catholics, whatever I spoke about. Oh, she said that. And they'll try to use it against you as an infringement of First Amendment. And then another thing, flying monkeys. A lot of flying monkeys have buttons. If you push their buttons, you will know. For example, I had a lady, I was waiting for my children to go into their after school activity and I was parking. I didn't park. Had my car on, what do you call those? Wheelchair parking spaces. But I was inside the car, so it's not like I just left it there. So if somebody wanted to park there, I could just move my car. So I was just waiting there for their activity, for after school activity. In the wheelchair space, the lady got off her car, started bitching at me for being there. You gotta park there. I said first, I'm not parked here. I'm like, do you want me to get out so you can park here? Because apparently you are not in a wheelchair, but you need to use the wheelchair parking lot. And she looked at me. No. I'm like, then why are you bitching? Because you shouldn't be there. I'm like, it's neither should you, so why are you here? Like crazy, weird encounters. And they'll just bitch at you for no reason, no logical reason. You don't have to do anything. And they'll come at you. They'll start an accident with you, or they'll come bitch at you at your window. It's wild and crazy. I had this happen to me. But yes, this is just one of the happenings. I had many accidents, on purpose accidents, at least 3 or 4 or 5. And that is being targeted when everything is crazy, when everyone's crazy. And then they're calling you the crazy one. And that's how you know you're dealing with a narcissist. Because the word of going around is that you're the crazy one, while everyone around you is literally crazy, psychotic ass motherfucker. So cut them off immediately when you know it. You will know because it's when I say crazy, it's actually crazy. Like, what the fuck? You'll be what the fuck all the time. Like, I've been what the fuck for so many years. Like, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck? Yeah. And then it has slowed down. Currently, it's slowed down. Like I said, I talked to those. I pressed the buttons. I made them come out of their cars. I filmed them. They hated me because I know how to push their buttons. I know how to make themselves identify themselves. I put them on the screen. I filmed them with that crazy shit that they do. I put it on tape. I'm like, here, that's her crazy. And I share it on social media. Like, oh, that's the crazy flying monkey. Is that one of you spies? You do that. They hate it. And eventually they realize what a bunch of dumbasses they are. They're just being used by a little dick, badass Bob motherfucker. I don't know what's your case, but that's my case. So I hope this helped you. I hope you keep your eyes open, keep learning about IT, old school IT, not the AI bullshit. That's why they're putting people in AI. They don't want you to learn the old school IT stuff. That's the only way you can save yourself. So learn old school IT. Learn about narcissist behavior. Learn about the disclosure documents that the government is disclosing from, and pay ultra programs to the RFK files. It has JFK files. I'm sorry, there's a lot to unpack there. Jeffrey Epstein files, all those things. Keep yourself updated in those shady areas of the government because that is the funding that they're using for these crazy shits. And like I said, when I did the movie, it was in the previous Biden. I don't know that I said it on this video or on the other one, but it was in the previous Biden administration. And I am the kind of mom who would go to the school board meetings to further get targeted, right? Because they always, if you're already being targeted, they'll find another reason to continue targeting you or to target you more aggressively. So I'm not gonna not go to school board meetings because the previous administration didn't like moms going to school board. That's not gonna happen. Well, I noticed a difference between administrations, how one administration was more aggressive than the other. So thankful for the current administration because there's less sparring going on. Less aggressive sparring going on, I should say. Less crazy, batshit crazy people sparring, I should say. There is still spine. I'm fully aware of that. I hope you're watching this. Give me likes and subscribe. If you're one of the spies that watch this, or if you're just a regular person, also like and subscribe and pay attention to your surroundings. I hope you learn. I'm not telling what to do with your life. I'm not here to tell grown-ass people what to do with their lives. I'm here to tell my story. Hope it helps. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're staying safe. It's a new channel, so please try to support, comment, etc. Thank you.